Light is one of the most powerful images of our faith. It reveals what is hidden, it reflects what is greater than ourselves, and it transforms the way we see the world. In the same way, artists use light to tell stories, stir emotions, and invite us into beauty and meaning. To help us explore this more deeply, two of our members, an artist and a theater director, share how light shapes their work and inspires their vision. Their perspectives invite us to see with new eyes and consider how we too are called to shine.
I work from what I call the inside out. I do things pretty much from my head most of the time. A whole lot of the time, I just start. In the process of building up the surface, you sort of start to figure out the values of things. And then once I've gotten a certain amount of it established, then I can go back in and say, oh, well, I need a lighter bit here and a lighter bit there. And it just kind of evolves. Until you get into using paint, you don't really realize that there's several different kinds of white. It's kind of like when you're choosing white to paint your wall, and there's a number of different shades, sort of things you can do, and you think, wow, I didn't know there were so many choices. There's titanium white, that is kind of the basic thing that people use. But there's also a zinc white, and titanium white is very opaque, so you can't see through that. But zinc white, you can see through a bit. So there's some that are different degrees of opacity. That's at least certainly true in acrylic paint. For me, I'll be working on something, and then I will drag some of the zinc white over it, which changes everything underneath, because that's part of what I'm interested in, is all the different layers and how they interact, whether it's with texture or with how the color relationships are, and build it up that way and make it interesting.
So it's interesting when you look at the tool of light in the theatrical sense. The lighting designer has such a crucial role in all of the storytelling. When we bring something to life from page to stage, it's not only enhancing the storytelling, it becomes the narrator, if you will. When the lighting designer comes in, they start using light as their palette, and they can turn the light to different angles. They can add haze. They have streaks of light. They can use gobos, which is the cutout that they put over the top of the bulb lens itself, and they can create endless patterns on the stage floor, on the backdrop, on the furniture, on a character or an actor themselves. So they start that layering, and that's only the beginning. It goes from the one raw bulb, the work light, into the many instruments that add color, texture, and how that lighting designer uses those lights as that narrator. That's the gift and the tool that they're giving the audience member to know where to go and focus. So it becomes part of that guiding light for the audience to understand and be a part of that storytelling and that production. Lighting is so important, especially in our world, because without it, it would just be very cold. It would be very sparse. It would be very bright and hard.
This is a good example of dark versus light, because on the exterior of the piece, all around the dove, I was using stamping in dark paint. And for me, that was supposed to represent the chaos of life. Then the dove in the middle, everything gets lighter, and the dove coming down to hopefully alleviate some of this chaos around it. That's how I viewed the exterior. All this, it's chaos. And, unfortunately, that's been with us since day one and seems to never want to leave, as much as we cry out for peace. That was really what I was trying to think about and achieve in the piece, was to give that feeling to people that there was, it's hope. We can't give up hope about our world, our country.
Theater can reflect or mirror life itself. When you come in, there can be something on stage that hits you in a way that maybe you were expecting. You were coming because you were hoping to feel uplifted, or it could be something that might remind you of something that doesn't always bring joy. But for us to feel those emotions and to have that connect or mirror with our real life, theater has that power to not only let you experience something that maybe you have never touched before, but it also shines a light with that slice of life. There was a study done. They actually studied the heartbeat of an entire audience as they were watching the same show. So this would be people of all walks of life, different ages, different backgrounds, but while they were watching a musical, the heartbeats actually became in sync with one another. But to think that through the power of the light that we're shining on this production, for that brief moment, our lives are together, our heartbeats are in sync, and we are experiencing something that you can't do when you just walk outside the doors.
I hope that the way I have taught has been shining light through trying to open things up for them to help them deal with their more intuitive selves and trust it. For me, I feel very engaged and compelled to do certain things. For example, when I did the picture of Jesus, I just thought, I think I'm going to try to do a picture of Jesus that's not like any of the sort of standard, and make him have a darker complexion and that wonderful sort of curly hair and all that. And so I just started drawing him, and I really didn't change much about it. And I said, well, no, there he is. And that was exciting to me. And that felt like that was like a gift, like a grace thing. I just kept it kind of simple and then worked the other color into it. And I was kind of pleased that it seemed to work. Sometimes when I'm doing different things, I'll have a feeling that somebody's on my shoulder. And I did feel that way about that I was sort of being guided. And a number of things I do have that kind of thing where I feel like you sort of pulled out something that was bigger, more how you felt about a bigger issue.
When thinking about light and how that parallels with my faith, someone's faith, anyone's faith, I go back and I think about how one light, one person can make a change, can make somebody feel accepted, welcome, safe. And it just takes one of us. And even that one light within many lights around us, we still need to be there, and we still need to shine our brightest, because at any moment, my light may dim, or the person next to me that I share life with, or a colleague at work, their light may dim, and I can change the intensity of mine to make a difference in their life.
It sounds like when you say shine your light, it sounds like it's got to be this big, dramatic thing. And it might be. But really, I think it's every kindness that you can do. Empathy, listening to people, a little small gift, even open the door for somebody, helping as many people as we can.
We can stop, pause, turn our light up a little bit. And if we are incapable, we can open ourselves up to receive the light that is around us.
When artists speak of light, they remind us of something deeper than paint or stagecraft. They remind us of God's first gift, let there be light, a gift that reveals what is hidden, reflects what is greater than ourselves, and gathers us into beauty and purpose. Light heals, it transforms, and it points us toward hope. As a church, we are called to share this same light in our worship, our ministries, our service, and our giving. We make visible the love of Christ that might otherwise go unseen. No one of us can carry this light alone, but together, when each gift, each story, each act of generosity is joined, we reflect something far brighter than any of us could create on our own. This is the light we shine, and it's through this shared light that God continues to bring healing, beauty, and transformation to the world.